There is a moment in parenting when you realize that this is not just about your kid growing up. It's about you letting go. My son is 17, almost 18, and heading off to college soon. And lately, I've noticed that we're both sitting in this in-between space. We're excited, we're nervous, we're feeling all the feelings all at the same time. It is honest. And it's a real conversation between a mom and her son about what it's like to prepare to leave and what it's like to prepare to let go. That's what we're diving into today. Hey, friend, welcome to the show. I will tell you straight up front that I almost cried just during that little opening. So I have Kleenexes on hand in case I need them, and I probably will. So today's episode is different. First of all, this is my very first interview ever. So it's super fun to welcome my son, Dylan, to the show today. And I want to just tell you how we approached this episode before we jump in. So Dylan, say hi, Dylan.
Hello.
Dylan is almost 18. He graduated from high school early back in May, and he's taking a gap year now. He'll be heading off to college at the end of the summer. And normally I create a script for my podcast episodes. I really think through everything I want to say, and I polish it up and I tweak it so that I'm delivering something really clean to you guys. But instead of doing that today, I had ChatGPT come up with a whole bunch of questions for us. And I decided we would just do this like a real conversation. Now, I got the questions ready. I did give them to Dylan ahead of time. So we both had a chance to glance through them. But honestly, neither one of us spent very much time doing that. So you're going to get just the real deal here. I know that many of you are going through this same season, or you're coming up on it, or maybe you just had it and your kid's just recently gone off to college. So I thought talking through his feelings and thoughts and expectations and my feelings and thoughts and expectations could be helpful, not just for us, but also for you guys. So that is why we're sharing this today. I'm just going to tell you guys, I have questions in front of me. So if you see me reading the screen, yeah, I'm reading the screen. That's what's going on.
Yeah.
Okay. So what feels exciting to you right now?
Probably, I'm trying to think about how I want to phrase this. I was going to say I'm excited to leave, but that's not quite it. As far as like, hmm,
It's okay to be excited to if that
yeah,
is the truth of that.
it's not that I'm excited to leave. I'm excited to to just be in a new place, I suppose. Like, sad that I'm leaving. I'm excited that I will get to have new experiences and whatnot. Like, I've lived in the same house for my entire life, like that kind of thing. So having a change of setting is relatively new for me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I'm very excited about that, I would say.
Okay, nice. I'm excited about that for you as
Yes.
well. I have, without going into too much detail, I had a lot of fun in college. Too much fun, in fact, at first, which Dylan knows that whole story. The short version is I went off to school, I partied real hard, quit school for a long time, and then went back after I was married. My husband and I actually both did the same thing, and did go back to school. We did graduate. The second time I was very studious, was a very good student. Hopefully his path will be more of the second.
Linear?
Yeah. hopefully you can mix your fun in with your studying.
That would be the hope.
That's what I'm hoping for you. But my point was that I did have a good time. I met a lot of fun people, definitely
Right.
new experiences,
Yeah.
all of that. So, yeah. Okay. So, what feels scary or uncertain about it?
Probably more than anything, I would say like the social aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
As far as like, it is a lot of new people,
Mm-hmm.
especially considering that I'm just coming off of a gap year where like I've interacted with maybe like 10 people.
Yeah.
Changing that to like whatever it was, like 30,000 or something, is a very large change.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't really know how that's going to go.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm relatively confident with how I'm going to do, like, academically. Like, I'm sure that there's going to be some bumps and whatnot, like there always is, but I'm relatively confident that I'll do fine. Mainly, it's just like the social aspect of it that I'm a little nervous about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just the sheer number of people.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is a lot of people.
It's a lot of people. Yeah. So I would offer one thing comforting. You're never going to see all those people in one place.
That's fair.
Right.
Right.
But it's true. There are going to be some classes that you will probably have a few hundred people in,
Yeah.
Which can be kind of strange and different.
Yes.
And I'll just be upfront with our audience too, our listeners, that I try to, as much as possible, and always do, I try to listen and not turn it into a lecture. But as a parent, that's very hard because I want to bestow my wisdom a little bit
Comes with the title.
as we go. It does come with the title. That's right. But yeah, to that effect, like you are going to have some classes that are big. You're going to have some classes that are small.
Right.
And we've talked a lot about Dylan getting into different programs that are going to attract people that he would enjoy being around.
Yes.
So Dylan is a self-proclaimed nerd, okay? And he plays D&D, makes really good grades, that kind of thing. So we have done a lot of talking ahead of time about what kind of things he can do when he gets to college, when he does go off, to kind of get himself in front of more people like that, people like him. So whether that's joining certain clubs, he's going to be in the honors program. I think that will help. There's a chance that he'll be able to live in an honors dorm, which I think would be great.
Definitely.
Yeah, so we've got some things like that in mind, but ways to find your people, right?
Yeah.
So for me, for the mom side, like I said, I'm also excited for you. I think it's going to be a fun experience. I know you like to learn. Hopefully you'll have some really great professors, really great classes. Obviously, like every mom on the planet, I am really hoping that you do find your people quickly
Hmm.
and you build some really good friendships there. I think that's one of the coolest things about college. And one of the things that's been interesting about this whole gap year is I feel like I'm just very aware
Hmm.
of all of the things that
You doing
Uh-huh.
good?
I'm good. um, of all of the changes coming
Hmm.
in the way of like I love that we talk a lot throughout the day. I am a big hugger. I love that I get several full on good hugs with my kid every day.
Mhm.
That's going to be a hard one. That's probably the hardest, honestly. I think
Yeah.
that might be the thing I'm most sad about, you know? And just not having you in our everyday lives
Hmm.
is going to be so strange.
Hmm.
So strange. And you're going to have like all cool new stuff.
Right.
And you're going to be excited about all that, as you should be.
Hmm.
And you're not going to be thinking about that very much at all.
Probably
Right?
not. No.
No, you're not. It's like if you went on a vacation,
Yeah.
right? If you went on, like Dylan went on a trip to Costa Rica. And then he went on a backpacking trip over summers. He's done several different cool trips. And he didn't think, I'm pretty sure, about us a whole lot on either one of those.
Not really. No.
Yeah, no, of course not. Because you're off doing new stuff and in new places, which is cool. And that's totally how it should be. But meanwhile, we're still here doing the same stuff.
Right.
We're in the same place, right?
Yeah.
So it's like something's missing
Hmm. I
for
get that.
us.
Yeah. Hmm.
So that's going to be hard. That's going to be the hardest thing. I think that's probably the hardest thing for all parents is not seeing you every day and
Right.
not knowing what you're up to. That's going to be hard. Like I feel like now I know when you go to work and I know when you go volunteer and I know when you go for a walk.
I personally am quite looking forward to that.
I'm sure you are. And then when you come home, I'm like, how was work?
Uh-huh.
Right? How was your walk? All of that. So yeah, it's going to be weird. It's going to be really weird.
Yes.
All of that is going to be really weird.
Hmm.
But the daily hugs is what I'll probably miss the most.
Hmm.
Yeah. So you're going to have to give me big long ones when you come home,
I see. Okay.
right?
Yep.
Just you're just
Make
going to
up
have
for
to
it.
you're going to have to just sit there with me and let me hug on you cuz I'm going to need that.
Mhm.
Okay, so now we're going to move on to expectations. So what are just generally some of the expectations that you have going into this, and I'll say what some of my expectations are going into this.
Right. I don't feel like I have many expectations of y'all. I don't suppose I've thought much about that part of it. I am hoping that I will do well in college and whatnot. I think I'll really enjoy it. I mean, I'm wanting to eventually get a doctorate and whatnot. So, like, I'm planning on spending a lot of time there. I would think that I would enjoy it, and I think that I would generally do well there. That is certainly my hope.
Mm.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I would expect myself to just generally do well. I
Okay.
guess.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
It does. So from the parent side of things, to share with you some of my expectations and dad's expectations. So we are paying for college.
Yes.
Right. So one of the things is like, as you turn 18, I don't even know exactly how it works yet because we haven't figured all that out and we're still working on all of it.
Hmm.
But I do know that you have to like give permission for me to even see grades or any of that.
Right. Yeah.
So that is an expectation I have.
Yes.
Right.
I,
We're paying for college. We get to see the grades.
that seems fair to me.
Yeah. And obviously our expectation is that you're going to class and doing your best and
Yeah.
keeping your grades up reasonably well. I would say too, I think at the same time it's fair to acknowledge that like I would expect A's and B's out of you because you're such a good student.
Hmm.
And also I have been through college and I
Yes.
know that there are some classes, there are some professors who just make it really difficult,
Uh huh.
almost impossible. So
There, I've definitely heard and probably experienced some of those teachers already, as far as there is no such thing as a 100 kind of thing.
yes, yes.
Um,
Yes.
yeah.
So Dylan did all dual credit classes his senior year. So he has had, and those were all through a college. He has already had some college classes and had a little bit of experience with some of that while giving some grace for an occasional bad grade.
Hmm.
Generally speaking, we feel like you should do pretty good.
Right. Yeah.
I think another expectation of from us is that you will take advantage of the tools and resources that the school provides.
Mm.
Dylan has ADHD. That is one of the things that I don't know if concerns me is the right word, but it's just one of the things that I want to keep on our radar.
Mm.
And we know that the school has some resources for all that, but it's going to be important for you
Right.
to actually utilize those resources.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm not going to be there to set it up for you, and
Yes.
I'm not going to be there to remind you to do it. So I think that's some of my expectations.
Yeah. That that is fair. I would say I historically don't have a great track record of using the resources at my disposal. The hope is that I will do better.
Yeah.
And I think I will do better as far as that goes.
Well, you get more ownership over it
Right.
this way,
Yeah.
right?
I think a lot of it is going to be just figuring out ways for me to have accountability. Like, I feel like if I can figure that out, then I'll be pretty good. It's just like figuring out where to find that, I suppose, is going to be the main challenge.
Yeah. I think they have stuff like that,
Right. Yeah.
something like that, so we'll definitely
From what
take
I can
advantage of
tell,
that.
yeah, from what I can tell, a lot of colleges have really good resources right now,
Yeah.
like for those things.
So let me ask about jobs or money. Do you have any expectations about that?
I'm wanting to work for like throughout college. Like I want a source of income. That seems like a smart thing to have. Even if my expenses are relatively minimal, like I think it would just be a good use of my time to like save up the money that I'm not using and whatnot. I do understand that college you tend to be a little limited on time, like time to spare, but I don't know. I think I could do it. Past that, I haven't really figured it out yet. Or I haven't
Mhm.
really thought deeply about it, I don't think.
Okay. So one of the things that we learned in our college visit was that they said statistically, kids who have a job while they're in college actually do better academically,
Mm.
which was interesting. And I think a lot of that actually has to do with the time factor and the fact that it forces you to have more structure and more time management. It's going to teach you that stuff better than if you were in college, just college and classes.
The
Because the
more
truth is, what were you going to say?
the more things you have on your calendar, the more you need to pay attention to the time that you're using.
Exactly. Exactly. And the truth is, college alone, like if you're taking 12 or 15 hours, you're not in class that much.
Right.
You're in class for like 3 hours a day,
Hmm.
you know?
Yes.
That's a lot of free time.
Makes it very easy to waste the rest of your day.
Absolutely. It does. And we've talked many times before about how college is different from high school in the fact that they don't care about homework. A lot of classes don't have homework of any kind.
Yeah.
They have tests
Hmm.
and that's it. And some of them may only have 4 tests for the year and those are your grades or the semester. And so that doesn't mean that there aren't practice problems or things that you should be doing, reading you should be doing on your own, but you have to do it on your
Just
own.
because you don't have to do the things does not mean that you shouldn't do the things
For sure. For
or
sure.
you
For
don't
sure.
need to do the things.
Yeah. Yeah. So keeping that in mind, and I do think the job thing makes a lot of sense, just not only for money wise, like if you're wanting to go on for your doctorate, that's a lot of college.
Yes.
Dad and I are prepared to pay for 4 years of college.
Yes.
We were not prepared for 8 to 12,
Yeah.
you know? So,
Yeah.
and maybe we will pitch in for that later down the road. I don't know yet. We haven't made that decision ourselves, but for you, working and saving as much as you can while your expenses are paid for is
Right.
a good idea.
Yeah.
Because we are paying for college, we're paying for dorm, we're paying for a meal plan, but extra fun things you want to go do,
Yeah.
you're going to want to have some of your own money too.
Mm.
Okay, so let's talk about independence now. I think it is probably a little bit hard for you because you've never been off to college, but still, what do you kind of have as expectations around that? What are you imagining that's going to look like? And then I'm going to share my thoughts and feelings and all that about it too.
I mean, I do have the benefit of experience with dual credit.
Hmm.
And I would imagine that it would be relatively similar there. A little obviously different when you're like staying on campus and all of those things. But as far as yeah, like independence and the amount of agency that I have for a lot of those things, I'd imagine that it would be relatively similar.
Hmm.
Um on the academic side at least. As far as just generally with being away from home and being 18, I have no idea. Um, so that'll be interesting,
Hmm.
I think, to navigate.
Well, I think one thing that will for sure be different is just like you mentioned before, I'm not there to remind you of anything, check in on anything,
Hmm.
assignments, or did you study for that test?
Yes.
All of that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
So, how do you feel about all that? Like, do you feel good about that being completely up to you? Are you nervous about it?
Kind of both.
Yeah.
Again, with that, I do think it's still pretty similar to how it was senior year.
Hmm.
Maybe not like really at the end there, but like the rest of it. So I have a expectation of what it'll look like.
Hmm.
Mainly for me right now, it's a question of how I will handle it, which I've been like, that question has been on my mind for like this entire gap year.
Hmm.
So I do feel like I am prepared for it. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to go off of the questions that we have here for a second because I just thought of something that might be helpful for people listening who maybe aren't quite here yet,
Mm.
but they're coming up on this stage of life. Is there anything that we did, and by we, I just mean me or you or the school or whatever, you felt was really good to prepare you? Is there anything that you would point out to parents and kids to be like, hey, you really need to do this thing. You really need to do that thing. Have this on your mind when you're going through high school, that kind of stuff?
Yes. The main thing that comes to mind is, I guess, to not manage everything.
The parents?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So are you basically telling parents to give your kid the control more?
Yes. Not like, don't like drop them in the deep end kind of thing, but like slowly starting to relinquish control over like, I would say like the last 2 years of high school
Mm.
would be my suggestion. Would definitely be helpful. Doesn't mean like completely hands free, but there's a difference between monitoring all of the things and like maintaining it. Because I think effectively, if you do manage all of the things and like help them keep track of their schoolwork and all of that, like right up until the end, I feel like they'll just kind of be dropped off in college and not know how to do any of those things, like because you've been doing it for them that entire time. So yeah, that would be my main suggestion is to like, obviously you want to keep track of things. You want to like make sure they're not failing, but at the same time, let them do the things. Like don't fix the things for them.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So, from the parent side of things, I would say things that have come to my mind a lot over really the last few years was preparing you for things like being able to do laundry and do dishes and just basic things like that. And dad has been very conscious of teaching you how to do things like fix things and work on the car and all of that. And I think he's done a really good job. He's super handy, luckily, around the house and with cars, like really handy. And that is something I've always appreciated is that he has really taken time to show you how to do stuff, even if you did not want to be shown how to do stuff or didn't feel like doing it at that time. I think that's a very, very valuable thing that those lessons have been very valuable for you, which I don't think you even realize how valuable yet.
Probably not.
But um, when you're off at school and something happens to your car and you know how to fix it,
Hmm.
that's going to be really helpful.
Right.
So, yeah, that's something I would say is things like make sure your kid knows how to do laundry, make sure they know how to clean a bathroom, for God's sake, how to do the dishes, how to go to the grocery store. I've had Dylan going to the grocery store for me some and just like on his own, just figuring out how to maneuver and find things in a grocery store.
I do kind of disagree with you on that.
Okay.
Now, to be fair, this could just be me taking all of this for granted
Uh huh.
and like not realizing how useful it's been. But I would say in the world that we currently live in, a lot of that information is accessible through like the internet and YouTube and all of that. Like now, like this mindset could just be as a result of you teaching me all of these different things.
Uh huh.
But like the mindset that I have towards a lot of that is like if I don't know how, then I can look it up and figure it out within like 30 minutes.
Mm hmm.
That would be like a small criticism on my part as far as like I don't know how much that should be emphasized
Hmm.
considering that a lot of it is already like accessible.
Okay.
That's
Yeah, that's a fair
I don't know.
point. That's not something that was available to us when we went off to college,
Hmm.
for sure.
Right.
But I will say this, I think like even if so it's true. Like, you wanted to learn how to do something or you needed to fix your car, for example.
Hmm.
Absolutely, you can find that on YouTube. There is no doubt. We can find everything on YouTube about that stuff. Thank God for YouTube. But first of all, not every single video is done well.
Hmm.
And if you've never touched a tool before, or you've never gotten under the hood of your car, or you've never had to take the tire off to do something,
So your argument is the like the hands-on experience that's gained.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. I get that.
I think that's probably more important than you realize.
Hmm.
Now, I think once you have a baseline, though, because even now, if something happens to your car, dad usually tells you to go figure it out first,
Yeah.
right? And that's part of the point, too. It's like, you know how to do some stuff now.
Hmm.
Now you can go find a video to show you how
Right.
because you already have a little bit of base
Like the
knowledge.
foundation of it.
Yeah.
Okay. I see what you're saying.
Because, and the other thing is, YouTube videos aren't going to show you every little thing. Like if you're going to go cook a casserole or whatever, they're not going to emphasize that you need to make sure that you turn the oven off and like some of the really
Right.
basic things, that
I get what you're saying.
you might actually miss.
A lot of things like that are already assuming that you have the baseline knowledge.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. I think.
I see what you're
I think.
saying.
But I see what you're saying too. You're right. There you can find just about anything on YouTube. I still think it's important to send your sons off knowing how to clean a bathroom. So okay, so back to our questions here. Some of them are kind of weird, honestly. Like, how do you want to handle mistakes and learning curves? Well, I think we should talk about them when they occur.
That's fair.
To me, that's one of the most important things here is the fact that because you're gone and I won't have eyes on you to know what's going on, it's going to be more important that if you do mess up and you are failing a class or something and you're not sure how to fix it or what to do, you know, just communicating. I think that is one of the most important things.
Right.
Asking for help, telling us what you need, that
Hmm.
kind of stuff. And sharing your thoughts and feelings about it, not just here's this issue, here's
Right.
this issue, here's what I think we should do about it. Here's how I'm feeling about it and us doing the same. What are your thoughts about that?
I agree. Yeah.
Hmm.
Um,
But I'm saying I do think it would be helpful like if you fail a test, maybe you give me a heads up
right. That's fair.
instead of waiting until towards the end of the semester and I see grades
Right.
and now we have a problem,
Mhm.
right?
Just keeping like a baseline of transparency.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
Not to say you don't have to tell me everything you're doing or not
I
doing.
don't intend to.
No, that would be, I am a realist. If something's really
Right.
not going well, or you're really struggling in some class, or it's a really crazy class or whatever, just giving us a heads up about
Mm.
it, I think would be super helpful. And I would say also for our part, like, well, for both of us, really, I think it's really important for kids going off, kids, I say in quotes because technically you'll be a grown boy. I'm not saying a grown man because 18 is not a grown man.
No, but it is a legal adult.
It's technically an adult. Yeah, that's what they say. But you just keeping in mind that we have been there,
Mm,
and we might have some suggestions that would be helpful
right.
that you might not come up with on your own.
Mhm,
And also, the flip side of that, by the way, I would say is that I think us as parents have to remember that we made mistakes
mhm,
and that's part of it. And it's part of the experience for you
right.
and we have to allow those. Like understand they're coming, allow them because that's just part of your path. That's
Mhm.
part of your journey.
I think that that will get better with time.
Oh, sure.
'Cause there is from the part of, like, the child, like, there is a difference between someone as a parent and someone as a person, I guess,
For sure. Yes.
as far as, like, how we treat information and all of that. So, like, that'll get better over time as that disconnect starts to fade a little.
Yeah. So you're saying as we are separating a little bit
Mhm.
our what we've had so far as a parent child relationship as that separates naturally because you're not in our house anymore.
Yeah.
We're not seeing their day-to-day activities. We're not micromanaging you, right? That you will see us more like people. Is that what I'm
Yes.
hearing?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's based on my own experience. That's probably true. And honestly, that's another great reason, though, too, because you do see us as parents. You're not going to take our advice as readily early on. So, using the resources and the tools that the college has,
Mhm.
too,
That's why they have them.
that's why they have them.
Yeah.
That's right. That's to help with all that. I think a lot of parents, and I'm also guilty of this, by the way, not just calling other people out, but we tend to have a very idealized vision for what our child is going to be like or should be like, should especially how they should be, how they should behave, how they should act, how they should treat their classes, how they should make friends, how they should all of the shoulds, right? And it's natural. That's part of what, because we have been micromanagers of our kids, especially when they're little. Like we are completely in charge and we tell them what to do and we expect them to do it. And I think it's really important, especially in this season, in this phase of life, for us to remember that we can't really push those shoulds on them any more than we can anyone else in our lives. That's really hard to come to terms with, to embrace, to embody. I'm sure I will fail at it. I'm sure my husband will fail at it. We will try to force our shoulds on you.
Mm.
I know that already,
Mhm.
but we will also try not to.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just a good reminder, right? It's a good reminder for me and other parents, I think,
Right.
though, is that they are on their own path. They are on their own path. This is their journey. They're going to have to figure it out for themselves. They're going to have to make their own mistakes and learn their own lessons.
Mhm.
And we have to remember that and allow it and check our expectations, frankly. And like I said, I'm totally talking to myself as well as anybody else listening. So I'll just call this out. Chat titled this section, Staying Connected Without Clinging. And my son laughs at that. I can't imagine why. Okay, so what does staying connected feel like to you? Not obligated, but connected. Why are you laughing? It's okay to be honest.
I imagine there's a rather large disconnect between your mental image of this and mine.
Possibly. That's why we have these conversations.
I probably won't be coming back every weekend.
So let's categorize
Hmm.
the connection points. So coming home is
Right.
one. Communication over the phone, whether
Hmm.
that's phone calls or texting, that's a form of connection. I especially like to take a lot of vacations and I try to sprinkle in vacations all throughout the summer and,
Mhm.
spring breaks and all that kind of stuff. We do a lot of stuff with our families over Thanksgiving and Christmas. So, yeah, just those different areas. What do you kind of envision and expect?
Right.
And then I'll talk about mine too.
I would expect to be back like major holidays, family events, that kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
At the same time, a example that comes to mind is like I really enjoy skiing. Y'all, I believe, have said that like the last trip that we did was kind of like the last trip that we'd do.
Maybe.
Either way, like one of the things that I'm definitely wanting to do over college is like go on a like ski trip,
Uh-huh.
just like with friends or whatnot.
Sure.
Like, I would really enjoy that. And like the easiest time that that would fit in would be a holiday break, something along those lines.
Uh-huh. So you're telling me you're not coming home for the weekends and now you're also not coming home for the holiday. Is that what
No,
I'm hearing?
no.
Okay. Continue.
I just said, first of all, I said every weekend.
Yes.
Probably most weekends I would be here.
Okay. 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 So you will come home on the weekends, not every single weekend. And you reserve the right to take some holiday vacations with friends, is what I'm
Yeah,
hearing.
that's yeah.
Okay. And what about phone calls, texting?
I mean, that for me, that's always been like across that bridge when I get to it kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
As far as like, we'll just see how that goes.
Okay. Okay. Interesting.
What is your
Okay. So I'm surprised
expectation?
to hear that you would come home on the weekends as much, actually.
Hmm,
Pleasantly surprised. I don't know if that will continue for long. Like, and that's the other thing too, is that
most likely.
I know when you first go off to college, it's going to be different
Hmm,
from 3 years from now, right?
mhm,
Typically, you come home a lot at the beginning and it slowly dwindles and
right.
you're not coming home as much towards the end.
Yeah.
That's typically how that goes. And luckily, you are close
Mhm,
for these 4 years.
yeah.
You're only 2.5, 3 hours away. I mean, as far as holidays and stuff like that, my expectations on that, we spend time with extended family over Thanksgiving and Christmas usually.
Mhm.
So I would prefer you be at those get togethers,
I would want to be
especially over the Christmas holiday. You're going to have a big break. It's not
right.
just the week of Christmas or whatever.
Yeah.
So,
Do colleges have a spring break or is that
yeah, colleges
really?
do have a spring break.
I didn't know that. Okay.
So, spring break is another one.
I reserve the right for friend road trips.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's fair. Listen, I would love for you to have a group of friends that you want to travel and do stuff with. So, I would not discourage that, just so you know.
Right.
And summers, who knows, right? Because it just all depends on if you have a job over the summer, go to school over the summer, whatever.
Right.
Well, we can work around
What
all
we
that
do
stuff.
during the summer.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. What's going on? So playing that by ear. Is there anything around the connection piece that feels like pressure to you?
Yeah.
Yeah. What?
You
Just me in general? Okay. Could you be a little more specific?
I do think this will change, but like over stuff like you mentioned, like Costa Rica, the backpacking trip and stuff,
Uh huh.
I don't get homesick very much. So like,
Which I think is a really great thing, by the way.
yes, I feel like a lot of the weekend visits would be more for you than me.
Ah, so do you feel obligated to come home on the
Yeah.
weekends? You
Mhm.
do. Oh, interesting. All right. Well, just so you know, I actually do not have expectations of you coming home every weekend.
Hmm.
It would really surprise me if you did that. Now, I think you could get homesick more than you expect
Right.
potentially at first.
Mm.
Maybe not though. Maybe you won't.
I suppose it depends on how much I'll enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah, and friends. That's going to be a big
That's it.
factor,
Just like
right?
other obligations. Yeah.
If you make other friends that you enjoy hanging out with and they're there, you're going to want to stay there and hang out
Right.
with them, right? Or work if you have
Yeah.
work, all those things. And that's all fine. So just so you know, I do not have an expectation of you coming home every weekend at all. And I am okay with that. I am going to miss you.
Mm.
Do not get me wrong.
I know.
And I will probably text you memes or whatever, check in with you on occasion. Not every day, I promise.
That would be great.
Yeah, I will not do that every day. And you are welcome to point out to me if it's too much.
I will.
Do you feel comfortable doing that?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, do,
Mm.
because I'm going to try not to be that mom. So this is another thing I think it's important for you to know is that, believe it or not, there are things, as much as I'm going to miss you and miss our daily hugs and miss our weekly check-ins and miss knowing everything that's going on in your life. There are also things that I am really excited about. Keep in mind, Dad and I were married for 10 years before you came around.
Right.
Do you know how long it's been since I was able to just walk through my house without any thought of what I had on?
Around about 17 years, I guess.
Yeah.
I
Or,
imagine.
of course, more over the last couple of years, like my schedule has freed up where you're involved once you got a license and all that kind of stuff. Like I'm not
Right.
taking you everywhere, but having that kind of responsibility be lifted in a whole new way is freeing for me in a lot of ways too. I think it's important for both of us to realize like it's okay if you don't come home every weekend and it's
Yeah.
okay for me to plan stuff over weekends and just give you a heads up. Hey, nobody's going to be home or mom's gone or whatever. And I'm just sharing all that so that there is a little bit of freedom for me in this too, not just you. Now for me, it's very mixed, right? For you, it's just liberating. For me, it's very mixed. There's liberating and free, and then there's sad and, clingy and all that. But there is freedom too. So just so you're aware of that side of it. Yeah. So I'll be okay. I'll be okay. That's my point. I mean, I'm not beyond luring you back with some of your favorite food,
Mm.
the promise of doing all your laundry, vacations together, all that.
Mhm.
I will do that.
We'll say I do find it funny that one of the things that you've cited as being a nice reason to return home is because it's nice to have someone to do your laundry again when I have been doing my laundry for the past years.
Yeah, you've been doing your laundry for probably 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
So think how nice it would be to have someone else do your laundry for you. Just saying. Yeah, is there any more detail you wanna go into about the sad part of leaving?
It's bad if I say no.
No.
Not really.
Yeah. I mean, you said at the beginning that there was a little bit of sad to leave, but mostly
Yeah.
excited.
Right. Yeah, I think there's a bit of both when it comes to just like a general change in scenery, I suppose. There is a sadness that comes with like leaving things behind in general, but I think a lot of it is just kind of overruled by the new things.
By the
Yeah.
excitement of what's to come.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I can definitely say for me, there is, and I know for most moms, it's equal parts, really.
Mm,
Like, I am so excited for you and interested to see what you do in this next phase. And I think you will enjoy college.
right.
One of the coolest things about being a parent is watching your kid morph and
Right.
change and grow and turn into this adult human. So, watching all that is exciting. And I am also for sure grieving a little bit of the life that I've had for the last 17 years,
Mm,
almost 18 years.
right.
Until you're a parent, you cannot possibly understand how drastically your life changes when you have a child. Drastically, like so dramatic. It is crazy. Overnight, you're instantly, completely, solely responsible for another human being and keeping them alive. You don't pee without thinking about that kid. You don't eat without thinking about that kid. You don't sleep without thinking about that kid. I mean, there's literally nothing you do
Mm,
without thinking about that child. Now, of course, that lessens as they grow. As you get older, I do less for you, like at some point I quit doing diapers, and at some point I quit giving you a bath. And at some point, like all the things, right, start to go away. But still, it is a big change from a parent's perspective when you have been here every day for 17, 18 plus years by the time you leave.
mm,
And now you're not.
right.
And most likely, you never will be again. It's the end of an era. It is a drastic change from what my life and dad's life has been like for almost 20 years. And again, there's also some freedom in that and excitement for us too, but it's definitely both for us. Whereas for you, it's much more of just the excitement piece of it,
Mm,
you know?
yeah.
It's a strange mix of emotions for parents, for
Mm.
sure. Okay, so how do you ask for support if you need support and you need our assistance and you need our help when you're off at college?
Do you have a suggestion for how I should ask for support? Because
Just
I wouldn't
ask.
know.
I mean, just ask. I think again, that goes back to just open communication. We have high expectations of you because we know what you are capable of,
Right.
but we are always, always here to help in
Mm,
any way that we can, whether that's just listening to you talk about something that's going on, whether that's giving advice, whether that's driving up there to help with something, or helping guide you on where you should look or who you should ask in college. We're always, always here to help. So I think just being open and honest and willing to show that vulnerability, just you being willing to admit that you need some support.
yeah,
I think that's probably the biggest thing.
I get that. Yeah, I would agree.
What do you feel like you are learning right now?
Just kind of like how to exist with not much to do.
Right.
Right.
Right now, this gap year, you
Hmm.
don't have as much to do.
There's a lot of stuff that I'm wanting to do. None of it is enforced. None of it's required. None of that. Right. So figuring out how to self enforce those things and how to just not waste free time
Hmm.
when you have a lot of it. That's mainly what I've been focusing on throughout this year. Yeah.
Have you come up with any good solutions or tools or practices?
I mean, for me, it's been keeping a calendar, keeping a planner, like figuring out what you are going to do with your day ahead of time, obviously sticking to it. That's like what's worked with me. I don't know how much that kind of advice translates to other people.
Well, I can tell you that's something that I help clients with.
Hmm.
That is a coaching tool that we use for time management and discipline. Because when you are planning ahead, you're using your prefrontal cortex, right? I'm going to go into coaching mode for just a second. Okay. If you think of your brain as two separate parts, okay, you have your prefrontal cortex, which is the planner. Okay. That's the planner. That's I see exactly how I'm going to do this thing. Here's my to do list, right? That's the planner part of the brain. And then you have your caveman brain. This is the part that wants you to just feel safe and comfortable all the time. Okay.
Yeah.
So what happens is when you
Mostly dopamine.
mostly dopamine, that's right. The caveman brain is going to give in to impulses. The caveman brain doesn't want you to work hard because
Mhm.
it's uncomfortable. The caveman brain doesn't want you to be vulnerable because that feels unsafe.
This day and age, it doesn't really work
That's exactly right.
at all because all of the things that it is designed to do are pretty much fulfilled 24/7 already.
That's exactly right.
So at this point, it's kind of just an obstacle.
It's like you've heard me talk about this before or something.
Hmm.
That's right. Yes, it is. That's why I call it the caveman brain. It's kind of useless for us at this stage
Mhm.
of our existence, right?
Food, shelter, water, we already have
We've
that.
already got it.
It's kind of left twiddling its thumb.
Exactly. So instead, it sees threats, though, everywhere. What is beautiful is if you use your prefrontal cortex and you plan out your day or even your week or whatever it is, right? If you plan your day ahead of time, not in the moment, that's key because in the moment is caveman brain.
Yeah.
Plan ahead is prefrontal. Okay. So if you plan ahead with your prefrontal cortex and you lay out what your day is going to look like or what you are going to get done that day, you will have a much better chance of actually accomplishing whatever it is.
Right.
And also, you have to be very aware that when that time comes that you're supposed to work on that thing,
You have to
your
do it.
caveman brain is not going to want to do it.
Yeah.
It's not gonna.
Mhm.
Guaranteed. Almost guaranteed every time. Even if it's something you kind of enjoy,
Yeah.
your caveman brain will find other things to do.
Yes. I will say that is made immensely more difficult with ADHD
Yes, I know.
by a lot.
Yeah.
Like to the point that like sometimes it just like feels like you physically can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why some of the tools for ADHD are
Mhm.
things like setting a timer or even an alarm on your phone or
Mhm.
something, because it's a little bit of an interrupter,
Yeah.
for that caveman brain. It's a little bit of like, oh, call you back to, oh, wait, I'm supposed to be doing this thing. Right.
Right.
And there's other tools, obviously, but I get that that's harder for you. But that's interesting that that's what you're learning right now and
Yeah.
what you're seeing in yourself is that self discipline struggle. Do you feel like you've gotten better over the course of the gap year so far?
A little.
A little.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a work in progress.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
50-year-old women struggle with that too. But yes, I do agree that it's more difficult for you, which is why we do other things for you and we try to look for other things for you specifically
Yeah.
that will help all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What is this season teaching me? Ooh. Let's see. I don't know. I think the gap year has been helpful for me because it feels more low pressure than when you were in school because I never wanted to see you fail a class or anything when you were in school. So I felt like I had to be on top of things more.
Yeah.
Whereas through this gap year, like, I don't want you to get fired from a job either or
Mm.
whatever, but I do feel like it's given me a chance to step back and let you take the wheel, so to
Yes.
speak, right?
Mm.
And kind of maneuver it and figure it out for yourself.
Yes.
Good, bad. What do you
I
think?
agree with you.
Yeah.
Calling back to what I was saying earlier with the difference between managing and maintaining kind of
Mhm.
thing. That's what that reminds me of, I suppose. As far as stepping back, still monitoring, I guess, but
Mhm.
not like being quite as involved.
Yeah. I'm trying really hard not to micromanage anymore. Trying. It's not always easy,
No.
but I am trying. Okay. So our next question is before this next chapter start, what feels important to say out loud?
I'm gonna let you start with this one.
Okay.
I need I would need some examples. So.
Well, we've said a lot of it already, I feel like. Before you go off, I think it's important to acknowledge that I have loved this season that we've been in, which it shifted. It has shifted a bunch over the years,
Yes.
of course. And I'm so proud of you. And there are so many things that I love about you, that you're kind and you're introspective, maybe is the
Mm.
right word. And Dad and I, as I said before, we have high expectations of you because we know you're capable of so much.
Mm.
And we are also willing to help in any way we can. It is gonna be a big change for all of us.
Mhm.
And yes, I am sad about the closing of part of it, but I'm very excited for the other side of it.
Mm.
And I never want you to feel guilty or obligated in any way to make me feel better for the side that's hard for me.
Something that occurred to me. I feel like the reason that there is kind of a disconnect with how you're treating it compared to how I am, I suppose, and how like every child and their parents are, is because for you, this has been a very like good part of your life and whatnot, right?
Yes.
For me, this has been my life.
Yeah.
Like the era, like the end of an era for you is just like the baseline, I suppose, for me.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know anything outside of this. I wasn't there for it.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
So for me, it is just kind of like there's nothing to look back on because this is the baseline and it's like just moving forward.
Yeah. It's starting your life, right?
Yes.
I mean, you've
Yeah.
had a life.
Right now, I don't have a point of comparison
Right.
for like what this is
Yeah.
because this has always been it,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
So I think that's where the disconnect comes from a lot of times.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that makes total sense. And that's one of the cool and interesting things about when you do go off to college and you meet a bunch of other people and you do have that like physically disconnect from
Hmm.
us, and you have space. That is one of the reasons that I'm excited for you is because I know that that's when you really you will learn so much about yourself.
Right.
You will become yourself in a
Hmm.
way that you haven't before,
Hmm.
and you will see different perspectives from other people
Right.
because up to this point you kind of live in a bubble, right? Your childhood, that's kind of what we do. We're surrounded by our parents and our parents' opinions and
Kind of.
thoughts. You have your own,
I
I
would.
know, but it's going to be so much more expanded.
Yes, I would disagree a little bit
Okay?
as far as that goes, both because my situation is a little different because I'm taking a gap year right now.
Yeah.
So, like, I feel like I've already started to like that kind of disconnect, not like physical location wise, but as far as like the other things,
Yeah.
with just being able to drive places and I have a job now and like
Right.
all of the things.
Yeah.
And I would also say that something that's kind of a new experience for some of these newer generations is as far as like figuring out who you are part.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm a lot further along with that than you would have been in this part because of internet, social media, whatnot. It's a lot less of a bubble, I think, nowadays, if
Yes,
that makes sense.
it does. It does make sense.
It's not like here, right? It's not physical, but I would still say that there's a lot more exposure to like other ideas and whatnot
Yeah, that's
nowadays than there
true.
have been.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is true. That's a fair point. Yeah, that's true.
Hmm.
Okay, so our next question is if another mom and her kid were listening to this together, what would we want them to hear?
What I attribute to be the reason for a lot of conflict in this stage of life is talking to both parents and their kids, remembering that the other is a human person.
Like the kid?
Yeah,
Okay.
from both perspectives. As far
Mm,
as like
like
the
with
person,
us,
yes,
like me remembering that you're your own person,
my own
you
person,
remembering that
I'm
I am
starting to become
my
an
own
adult.
person.
I'm starting to like go out into the world and have my own experiences separate from you.
Right.
And at the same time, that you are a person, you are not just like parental figure.
Right.
And like I feel that realization does come with time a lot.
Hmm.
And at the same time, I think that that realization doesn't come until later is a source of I think it's the reason for a lot of conflict during the kind of teenage phase.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Parents still treating their kids like their kids,
Hmm.
kids still treating their parents like their parents,
Right.
neither acknowledging that you're your own independent person
Yes. With thoughts and feelings
with thoughts
outside
outside of,
the other person.
yes, and so am I.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
That realization.
That is something that definitely grows as you go off to school, and just as you get older. Like you said
Right.
earlier, that physical disconnect helps with that.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. I think for me, what I would want people to take away would be just try to keep communication open. I think that's super important. I think that's important at every stage. Be open, be willing to listen and possibly even give advice and all that without so much judgment,
Mm.
right? Try to remove the shoulds as much as you can. I think that's a good rule of thumb for any relationship. Keep the conversations going like these kind of questions.
Yeah.
It's great to check in with your kid every now and then when they're at home on a weekend,
Yes.
just to be like, hey, how are you feeling about everything?
Yeah. Yeah. Just like keeping that line of communication open.
Yeah. Yeah, chat gave us one that says, what doesn't need to be perfect? Neither one of us love that question. Nothing ever needs to be perfect because nothing is perfect.
Yeah.
Nothing and no one is perfect. So don't have expectations of perfect, right?
Yeah.
For me and myself, for him, I don't expect him to be a perfect student. I don't expect you to be a perfect son, whatever that even means. I don't expect your college experience to be perfect. I don't expect to be a perfect mom in the situation.
Yeah.
Right? Like, there is no perfect. We're all humans living in an imperfect world.
Yeah.
So that's it. Okay. So as we wrap up, and I kind of already said some of this just then, but I think as we move forward with this, moms and parents, like, we just need to stay really open, keep the lines of communication open, be curious, be interested in what your kid is doing and saying and thinking and feeling, and be willing to talk with them and listen and try to understand as opposed to enforce your own thoughts and judgments on the situation or them. Is that fair?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Just feels like a good baseline.
And remember that you aren't going to have all the answers and you don't have to get it all right. This is a learning process for everybody involved. And it's okay for everybody to be really excited and a little sad about what is being lost as well, or what we're moving on from, rather.
Mm.
And yeah, the next season can be beautiful. It can be beautiful and exciting for both of you. And I think that's important to keep in mind too. Okay, so if you have anybody else in your life who could benefit from the conversation, go ahead and share this episode with them. Feel free to listen to it with your kid, share it with your kid, your husband, or your mom friends, whoever might get something out of it. Thank you for being my first guest.
Glad I could be here.
All right, y'all, that's all I've got. Go be fabulous. Make sure you take my free Shift Happens quiz to find out what you're really craving next in midlife. Or if you think you might be ready to dive into one-on-one coaching with me, book a free clarity call. You'll find both links right below the video.